I thought it was wonderful growing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did your parents do for a living?
Pardon?
What did your parents do for a living?
Well, he was a rancher then. We had a ranch. And my mother just was a mother.
Okay.
But my dad in the beginning was a cowboy. And something I cannot find in a dictionary anywhere. He was a gandy dancer on the railroad. Do you know what a gandy dancer is?
I have no idea.
I cannot find anything about a gandy dancer.
Okay. Oh. That's something I can look into.
But that was in some of the things that I read about them.
Okay.
And he rode horses then for $5 a horse. That was a lot of money though, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your school like?
One-room schoolhouse with all 8 grades. And my sister Catherine taught me in the 6th grade.
Right. What was the youngest grade in school?
One of the what?
What was the youngest grade? Was it just 1st through 8th grade?
No, I'm not hearing.
Oh, okay. Was the school just 1st through 8th grade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Each one of the grades, yeah.
Okay. And
So I think that we all learned more because it was one room. So as the 1st graders, we'd sit there and we'd hear what the 8th graders were learning. I think we learned a lot more then.
okay. You said you wore hand-me-down clothes, like from your parents or older sisters.
Any kind of clothes
Okay.
that we had at that time.
Did you have to wear anything special to go to school? Just your regular clothes?
Unless you wanted to say that we were dressed warm when it was cold.
Okay.
No, nothing special.
And the girls had to wear something different than the boys, right?
Oh yeah, but I think all the girls wore lace-up shoes. I mean regular boys' shoes you'd call them now, because Dad could practically make them, resold them. Yeah.
Okay. What was a typical day like?
What was fun?
A day. What was a day like? Just like the typical day where you go to school. Like what time did you wake up in the morning?
Yeah. Now, if the weather was right, we had chores to do before we went to school. Mine was to bring in the water from the well, fill up the reservoir alongside the stove and the tea kettle. That was when I was smaller. And Dad usually had the horses ready to go to school. We rode to school. And at school we had to take care of our horse.
So how far away was the school from your house?
I've been trying to figure that out. It was more than 5 miles.
Like how much time would it take you riding there? You don't.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I know we had to be there at 8 o'clock.
Okay. Wow. So you had to be there at 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
and you had to do chores sometimes
We
before.
had to take care of our horse.
So what time would you wake up?
Mm-hmm.
What time would you wake up with the crack of
Oh,
dawn?
anywhere from 5 on.
Okay.
Yeah. That was, we just woke up. No, I don't remember ever being woke up.
Huh.
It was just habit.
Okay. Wow. That's early. So then you go to school, and what did you do after school?
Well, during the after school, we had to shove up manure, clean out the horses' stop and ride home. And then we had chores. There was chicken, there was turkey, there was what would be on a ranch to do. Yeah, it depended on the season. Yeah.
Okay.
During the day, you had to, at noon, you had to go water your horse to make sure that it was all right.
That was in the middle of
Feed it
school?
some oats or something. Yeah, there.
Okay, did you play any instruments?
At school, we had games, we had football. And I know we had a lot of games that I don't remember. Baseball, I know we had. It would depend on how many was in the school at one time.
Okay.
But you have to remember that I was a long way away from anybody else. And when my two older sisters were gone, I was the only child there. And nobody to play with. I just did whatever, whatever come along. Oh, Toki. She has to do all this and maybe she'll go out. Come on. Come on. Come on. There. In the evening, we played cards. And we even had big jigsaw puzzles back in those days that we worked on. And my dad usually played his violin for us. And of course we had the radio with certain programs like Amos and Andy. And the radio was run by a car battery.
So, did you listen to music on the radio?
Did what?
Listen to music?
Music? No. It was saved for news and certain programs.
Okay.
Our music was our dad.
Okay. So, when did you ever start listening to music?
Oh, yes.
And when you started, like, about how old were you when you started listening to music? Like radio?
When I was large enough to chord on the organ for Dad, for his violin, for his fiddle. Now, we called it a fiddle, but when he played it sometime it depended on the music that he played. Whether it was stomping music or something nice and soft.
Okay.
And he did play for dances.
Like,
Yeah.
where would you have these dances?
Oh, about 15 miles away from home. At what was called our post office banner.
Okay.
It had a dance hall.
So, you said you lived on a ranch, so obviously there were lots of animals around, but did you have any personal pets?
Yes, I had a lamb. And I had a lamb until one of my birthdays. I came home from school and my mother had roast lamb for dinner. And it was so good until I couldn't find my lamb. And that was the last time I ate lamb for a long, long time. My dad did not. Well, he was a cattleman and he did not like sheep, but he ended up growing some, having them on the place for money.
Okay. What are some of your favorite memories of growing up?
Well, in the summertime, there was always barbecues at different ranches that we would go to, and we did have what we called treasure hunts in those days, and I mean real treasure hunts when you got on a horse. Be the first one on the horse to get the clue to go to somebody's ranch to find another clue. Usually took the whole evening. That was fun. That was fun. And going to dances with my parents. And in the wintertime, there was card parties. They would go in sleds. Horses and sleds, you know.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And they'd be at different ranches once a week. And all that was, I can't say that there would be any favorite one. It just all, I just enjoyed it all. My sisters say that too.
Okay.
You would think that as poor as we didn't know we were poor during the Depression. Everybody there were poor. If you wanted, I mean, $5 went, awful long ways.
Wow.
And we grew our own food. And you take the wheat into the mill, you get flour. You take sugar beets to the mill and you get sugar. And everything else was homegrown. So we weren't lacking anything. I couldn't see where we were.
Okay.
It wouldn't be like nowadays, would it?
No. You're very different. Do you remember any of your favorite songs?
Do I like?
Remember any of your favorite songs?
Yes. And I just heard some of the words through my sister. We could remember them. My dad used to play it first as a polka and then as a dance piece. Freddie Red Wing. Once was an Indian maid, a pretty little Indian maid. Now the moon shines tonight on Freddie Red Wing. The breeze is sighing, the night bird crying, yeah, that one. And, there was a lot of different ones that I loved. And we had a lot of hymns. I think my folks were religious. I can't swear to that, but I think they were because there was hymns and there was always Bible sayings, but there was no way to go to church. There was 2 summers that they had a minister come out and we could have Sunday school, but that was only 2 summers. It was 18 miles from town, so there wasn't too much activity that way.
Okay. What was your mom's name?
Carolyn Oberbach.
Okay. And do you know where and when she was born?
And I got something to show you about that. Better than I can answer. I'm sorry. I think most of that was just about,
Wow. So this was your mom?
I remember her telling about that trip in this sailing vessel that took them a month to come from Germany to the United States. And I remember her telling about that. And it tells about they lived in New York, she thinks, and then traveling, I think, to Nebraska or somewhere, where she stayed in a log or a sod house with her sisters that were there ahead of time. Her father had sent the oldest ones over first. He was a tailor for the German army, her father. And he had started getting very uncomfortable with the things that were going on in Germany then, and he was sending his oldest children over here. And then he came. But that tells quite a bit in there about.
Yeah. Oh, I'll go back. Oh, I'm not back right here.
I looked for more pictures, but so many of these pictures are. You can keep that for whatever you want of your mom, because I've got several of those.
Okay.
This is the only picture I have of where I was born. And you can see what's in front of it. It's from, they had been butchering hogs that day. But I was born there.
Oh, you're born in the house? In that little house?
Yeah. But I wanted you to see this too. The oldest four children, the only way they could get to school was for mom and dad to row them across Piney and back again. That was pretty scary, my sister says, when the river was high. That was a long time before I come along.
Wow. So are these all old photographs from then?
Mm-hmm.
Is this whole book full of old photographs?
Look at the picture of my mom and dad. But my kids, when they were little, your Grandma Bobby and the rest of them, they used to pull pictures out of my. I wanted to tell you about one thing that happened when I was growing up. And I saw this in the paper about Nebraska. When the grasshoppers came in, they just came in, you couldn't believe it. Now this shows a little bit. Just imagine, just everywhere you look, to see grasshoppers like that.
Wow.
They were in the house, they were in our food. They even ate the curtains in the house. And there was not anything left in the garden except root vegetables. They'd eat everything on top, but
Wow.
they didn't get what was under the ground. Then the Mormon crickets came, and they ate what was in the ground.
What are Mormon crickets? What are Mormon crickets?
They're a red thing about that big. It's a cricket, but they didn't fly. And so my dad and my brother dug pits all around, and we would take a gunny sack that was covered with oil, and we would drive these crickets into the holes, the pits. They'd pour oil on them and burn them. The only way we could get rid of them. I think I can still smell them. But those, oh, that was awful. You couldn't go out. They'd be in your nose, everywhere. And this just shows a little tiny bit of it. I guess they were called locusts in those days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm sorry I got off on something.
Oh, no, that's fine. Okay, what was your father's name? Your dad's name?
Smith, George Robert Smith.
And do you know where and when he was born?
He was born in Missouri. You want the date?
Only if you know.
Because I don't remember right now.
Okay, that's fine.
And they're not sure even yet exactly where my dad was born. We've had a lot of people trying to find out, but they hadn't found exactly pinpointed down. Exactly. His sister was born on a blanket somewhere between Missouri and Wyoming. There was a wagon train coming through that they were on. And his sister, they stopped. She was born out there on the prairie.
So obviously you remember the Depression?
I don't remember any of those things. I wouldn't. My dad passed away when I was 18.
Okay.
He was young, I think.
Okay. What do you remember about World War II?
About what?
World War II?
Oh. The first thing I remember is a blackout right here in Olympia. Because when we heard the news that day, we walked downtown. That was the day whereupon I got engaged. And I can remember blackouts. It doesn't seem too bad now. Gas shortages, using margarine that didn't have any. You had to mix the yellow in with it, you know, to make it look like butter.
Yeah.
Didn't make it taste any different. And gas, different shortages. And plane watching. That was in Shelton. Not too much about that I do remember. Nothing exciting. Grandpa was out at the Signal Corps at Fort Lewis during that time. And I had a nephew in the Navy, and he got to come from Bremerton down to Shelton to meet us once. I had a nephew in the Army. He had seemed a long time ago already.
Yeah. Okay. Where were you when you heard that John F. Kennedy had been shot? Do you remember
Mhm.
John F. Kennedy?
Kennedy
Yeah.
sitting in the front room in Lacey in what we used to call Robin's Roost. Robin's Road was where, and we were, I don't know if we had been watching television or what happened, but we were sitting there, all of us, when we heard that. And none of us could believe it. It just didn't seem possible.
Okay, how about when you heard that Elvis had died?
That was one I didn't believe either. He was never going to die. And I guess people don't believe he did yet.
Yeah. Were you a big Elvis fan?
No, only through your aunts and your grandma. Only through that. I wasn't a big fan.
Okay. You like to read a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You like to read a lot, right? You like to read a lot?
Yes. Yeah.
So about how many books do you read a week?
Oh, I have no idea.
Like,
It would depend on the cat. Well, this is true. If she won't sleep, and I have to wait for her to come in, I read a lot. I read more than I watch television.
so would
So,
you,
I could go through a couple of them a week, I guess, depending on the size of the books.
what's your favorite book? Or what are some of your favorite books?
Oh, I like books about animals, and I like a good mystery, and I like Sue Grafton with A is for Alibi, and that one. There is the one about this one cat that I like. It's a mystery. I even read the encyclopedia. I really do. I like doing crosswords. And if I find something that I don't know, I'll look it up in the encyclopedia. Well, I'll see something there that's interesting, so I just keep reading. I read anything.
Okay. What was Grandma Bobby like when she was little?
The sweetest little thing you ever saw. She's the one that I would threaten to spank her, and she'd turn around and back away from me. Grin, mommy, grin, mommy, grin, mommy. She knew that as soon as she did that, well, that was all over the spanking anyway. And as soon as she got dirty playing, she had to come in and change every bit of her clothes. Could not stand to be even dusty.
Okay. Do you have any favorite stories about her?
Anyway,
Favorite stories about her?
that's the one that I remember more than anything. Unless that was the 2 weeks ago tomorrow when I fell and it scared her to death. She cried when she tried to tell Pat. No. Oh, that's awful to ask me about any of your children. No. She was just my little girl that whole time. I wanted a little girl so bad.
Okay, you also knew Grandpa Ronnie. So what was he like when he was younger?
Say that again.
Okay, Grandpa Ronnie. Ron. Okay.
Grandpa Ron.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's still one of my favorite people.
Yeah. What was he like when he was younger?
He just like being around Dale, my own son. I liked it. I mean, he was Ron.
Okay.
And I almost didn't recognize him at Maddie's birthday.
Really?
He had gained weight. And I almost didn't recognize him. But that's me, my vision is bad, so.
Okay. It says here that you used to go to the beach a lot.
I used to what?
To go to the beach a lot.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What did you do there, and what kind of seafood did you catch?
Well, when we first went to the beach, we didn't have anything like people do now. We didn't even have sleeping bags. We had canvas and blankets, and we slept around the fire. And I put meat and vegetables and a whole bunch of stuff in a pot and put it under the fire, and we'd go off and dig clams or fish or whatever, play in the sand, come back and our food would be done. That's what we did, was mostly dig clams and fish.
You've had the opportunity to observe a lot of change going on.
Yes, I'm so sorry about this.
That's all right. Okay, you've had the opportunity to see a lot of change go on.
A lot of change.
Like things changing.
In what? Everything?
I was just wondering, how has the beach changed?
At the beach now?
Yeah.
Well, the last time I went down there was a gambling thing on the beach. The Indians had set up one of their, what do you call them?
Casino?
Yeah, gambling halls. But your mom had taken me down to dig clams the last time I could do that. Yes, it's different. But the idea of digging clams is still there. There's still so many people that do it. And that was a thrill out for me. I used to like to dig them. Not much interesting there.
That's all right. Okay, how have family vacations or family life changed in general?
Family vacations?
Yeah.
Well, since I'm not a family anymore, just me, I go with somebody. I went to Mexico to be with your mom. I went to Arizona to be with Dale. Oh, I did.
You went up in a hot air balloon?
Oh, yes.
Is that scary?
Yeah, no. The most amazing thing of going up in a balloon is that you think you're going to feel this. But it's like you're standing still, and the only way you can tell you're moving is to watch your shadow down on the ground. It's weird. Oh, I loved it. I really did. Even if they did have to turn the basket over so I could get into it. And I've gone to Salt Lake to be with that sister, and I've been in Kalispell, Montana to see the other sister.
Okay.
Where did your mother get all these questions?
I don't know. I have no idea. I guess maybe she was bored at work or something. Yeah, what do you think of these questions? What do you think of these questions?
Yeah. Fine, they should cover about everything.
Okay. Have you noticed changes in the environment?
Yes. But I don't know if it's just me or whether there's really changes or not. Right now, everything that I own is full of dust, but it's coming from the work that they're doing down on the new bridge, and everything comes up here.
Yeah, I saw that they were doing work. It kind of confused me.
I know the change in the weather, but who knows whether it's just this year or going to be another year the same way. I've got flowers blooming that were supposed to bloom in the spring.
Is this so?
Yes, my crocus and daffodils that I planted in the fall to bloom in the spring, they're blooming now. Now that's weird.
Okay. Okay. How do the hippies of the 60s and 70s compare to today's
Now
young
you're
folks?
going to have to do that slow.
Oh, okay. You know, hippies from the 60s and 70s, the wild children.
Back in the 60s and
Back in the
70s.
60s and 70s.
Yeah,
You know what I'm referring to when I say the hippies.
yeah.
Yeah. How do they compare to today's young folk?
Oh, wow. Traffic.
Traffic?
That isn't what she meant, I don't think, does she?
Oh, that's a good answer, though.
Traffic and people. Difference in food, too. Oh, there's a lot of difference in food. For the thing that they told you was good for you to eat, then now they tell you you might die from it. I don't know what anything is. There's certainly a lot of difference in the colors. And right now, I'm tickled to death to see all of the brilliant colors they have in cars. I like that. Or am I just noticing them? Bright blue and red.
Yeah, they have some nice.
Roger's pumpkin. No. He says it's bronze. Bobby and I call it his pumpkin.
What is,
pickup.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Oh, you did call her too,
Who?
Bobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite president?
My favorite president?
Yeah.
There he is, Truman.
That easy? You just know that he was your... What made him, what makes him your favorite?
I just got along with everything he did and believed in what he was doing, and he always was my favorite. But I can remember that I was hoping that I would be able to vote for Franklin D. Roosevelt the first time I voted. And I did. I don't know why I wanted to, but I thought that would be a keen thing to do the first time I voted.
Okay. What was my mom like when she was little?
What was what?
My mom, Debbie.
What were they like?
What was she like when she was little?
No. That's an awful question.
Well, she asked it.
No, I'm not thinking of what you hurting your feelings or anything like that. I don't mean that. And I'm trying to remember when I took her all the way back to Kalispell, Montana on the train. Because my mother and my sister and sister-in-law were there. And she got to play in the snow for the first time back there. I don't know if she'll remember that or not. And I had more fun with her on that train. Everybody thought she was so pretty. So did I can just remember playing with her, and I don't think I got to babysit her too often. And I remember Don had a little bit of a temper. Something like that he is now. That's about all I can tell you.
Okay. If you could change one thing in your life, what would it be?
If I could change it, if I could really change it, I would have liked to stay home and not work.
Which home do you mean?
Which home?
Yeah. And where did you work?
Any of them. We moved so many times.
Oh.
Well, do you know who this is?
Who's this?
This is Josh. Debbie,
Yeah, Josh.
This is Denny.
You're a little bigger than last time I seen you.
Yeah.
What are you, about 6 foot?
Like 6'1".
6'1". Look like you're a pretty big boy. How old are you now?
19.
Hey, you live real. Hello. How you doing? Good.
Yeah, alright.
Hello. So you doing, growing up?
Alrighty. Yeah. But I think that would have been it, so I could have stayed. 'Cause so many of those days I worked in a restaurant, and then I babysit, or I ironed for somebody, or I cleaned for somebody. I would have liked to stay home when the kids were little.
What happened to the bird feeder?
He's asking me a bunch of questions.
The bird bath.
I need somebody, I don't know whether it was a deer or what. I got the squirrels out, but something jumped it over last night. I imagine it was a heavy raccoon. Couldn't they
Yeah.
tip it?
I think so.
But we had deer too.
Really?
Yeah,
They come into your yard?
yeah, they come from the park back of the church.
Oh,
They're always all over here. Okay.
Okay. What advice would you have for your great-grandchildren?
For my good,
I guess that would be
for all of my grandchildren.
Maddie. Yeah, like words of wisdom.
Well, It has to be something that I didn't take myself, good advice. No, to do what you're doing and do what you want to do and do it well. Yeah, do it well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay. What's your secret to living a long and healthy life?
Now do that again.
What's your secret to living a long and healthy life?
Get up every morning. Get out of bed. Move.
Okay. Mom
Yeah.
didn't tell you to say that, did she?
No, just keep moving.
Okay. How many years have you lived in the Olympia area?
Well, the judge asked me that the other day. And we traded back from Shelton to Olympia so many times that I don't remember.
Okay.
One of Lindy's judges took her and I out to eat last week. And that's what he asked me.
Okay. Well, what was, you remember what Olympia was like before the Civil Rights Movement?
Before when?
The Civil Rights Movement?
I probably didn't pay much attention.
Well, were the restaurants
There
segregated
were so
here?
many things that when I was working and with the children, I probably didn't pay attention to a lot of things.
Well, I mean, just like, were the restaurants segregated, like, whites only restaurants
Yes.
here? They had those here?
Yes. I was working in Shelton in a hotel, and there was a colored couple came in and sat, and the other girl wouldn't wait on them. And I did. Now that I remember. They were just as nice. I figured there was customers. They were as nice as anybody could be. I wasn't thinking of anything else. But she wouldn't know. She wouldn't even offer water or anything.
Okay. How has Olympia changed over the years?
Well, it's grown so much like any place has. But I can't see where it's changed all of that much. I don't really think it does. Unless you want to say that we got banks and more restaurants or
So you going back to school?
Yeah.
When did you start?
September 25th.
I see you got about a month then.
Yeah.
I know, that's good.
what did you find out anything about your apartment today?
Huh.
Well, I was mistaken. That
Yeah,
was,
they did inspections yesterday.
yeah, but
Lawsuit filed.
no. Oh golly, there was something today in it. Yeah, this one. The apartment that he's staying in, Ferb something or other, is full of mold and the ceilings are falling and different ones and stuff in there. See whether they get any help. Forage clean, that's it.
Yeah, I seen that. They put a sign on this one, unsafe to occupy because of the roof. And they started.
Joyce, your apartment's all right.
Yeah, it should be. I don't know. I haven't heard both of it. I need to check and see see water damage has been done in the past, the ceiling, but it looks okay at the moment. And they inspected them, and they inspected mine a couple weeks back. But yeah, I have yet to read anything about it.
Well, you'd get all your money back, wouldn't you, or your,
Oh, probably not.
seems like you get,
If I want to file a lawsuit against them, I'll get it eventually. But
well, are we about through with them?
Yeah, there's one last one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what did you think of last year's September 11th incident?
I'm still horrified.
I didn't know you had this on video, David.
Oh, that's alright. It's gonna be edited.
You're gonna edit it?
Yeah.
I am just absolutely horrified that anybody could do that. Unbelievable that they could actually do that. And how could they will themselves to drive that, pilot that plane?
I don't know.
Get louder, Grandma. Louder.
Huh? I don't know. Let me see.
So is this for school or what?
No, it's for my mom. She wanted it done.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't even know where any matches are, I don't think. Okay, I don't know. Well, I'm looking at